Yeah, so I'm trying to remember which one is reassessed, which one is.
That may be the better
Brand new
answer.
I think we should assess macro.
Yeah, I think I remember assessing micro last fall, but like I said,
Yeah.
that my memory's foggy on
Last fall, I
that.
think we did macro and reassessed micro
In the fall, you did this past fall?
in past.
So we should be assessing micro.
Hi,
reassessing-
Addison, just send you a new email with a new link on it.
So I'm gonna put, you're assessing
Well-
micro, reassessing macro.
Well, Schwang is checking to see if he's got the
I'm double
record.
I remember.
But
Yeah,
Okay, is it?
No
he's
worries.
checking his dashboard here, so.
Any recommendations of the assessments from last year?
Let me pull those up first.
Okay, all right, okay, that's good. Okay, all right, bye. Okay, he's online now.
so we assess macro, we reassess micro.
Okay.
You can-
All right,
you can
so-
double check.
Yeah,
Let
and
me
which,
see.
and which SLOs do we do for macro and which ones do we reassess for micro again? This is just jogging the memory. It's been a little
Are
while.
we gonna do the same SLOs or we're gonna change?
All
Well,
right,
it is-
so for 2301,
Yeah.
we did the 4 and 5.
Okay, but was that a reassessment or the first time assessment?
Let me check for 2015, that
Yeah,
way we can see it.
Okay,
And I think for 2302, it was
okay.
3 and 4. 2302.
Yeah, because we were out of sync with one of them because we had the numbers out of the state order
Mhm.
initially, and then we put it back in the state order and.
So you can check if these two were for micro.
Okay.
And then the two other one was for macro. Do you have the same?
I think the number is different.
Yes, I know.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe that's why we also
Okay.
see the other ones here. Okay.
The numbers are different for sure. So I have business cycle for macro and money supply, again, for micro, law of diminishing marginal utility maximization, and then
Okay.
production function and law of diminishing marginal productivity.
Okay, hold on. You're running a little bit too fast here. Okay. All right, so basically, it's like we were doing business cycle and money supply, which are correctly stated as 5 and 6
Mhm.
according to state order. That were those the first time assessed or were those reassessed?
Mm,
You're gonna check the year before.
You should check the
2015 numbers,
2015.
yeah. So 2015,
Heard you on the radio this summer.
Yeah, I'm on the radio pretty
Yeah.
regularly. Part of it's because I'm acquainted with a couple of producers with KTRH.
Okay.
No,
And so as a result, like Matt Patrick, before he passed away, had me on more than a few times.
Yep, I heard
And
you on
Michael
Matt
Berry has me on the regular rotations too.
Mhm.
Very recently, they had me on because of something that didn't have to do with economics, had to do with some school in Georgia. The guy was basically letting the students choose their own grade based upon stress and blah, 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 blah. And this is at University of Georgia, let me add, not, whatever. And my whole thing is, first of all, I wasn't able to validate if this is true or not saying, so I'm saying, assuming this is true,
Right.
this is just way wrong, and LSE would never go for that.
Yeah.
Okay, because it devalues the degree and so forth, and it was supposed to be for some kind of data analysis class. It's like, there's no way that the University of Georgia could be doing this in reality, but, you never know these days. You get some hippy-dippy professors even in business these days
Yeah.
sometimes, and, no disrespect to people that are in that bent and so forth, it's not appropriate. But that was a more recent one they asked about, and I basically said, I can tell you right now, LSE has a policy against grade inflation, because I've seen more than a few adjuncts not come back because of that nonsense, so that guy that was able to get some good word about we have standards.
Yeah, right.
yeah, Addison on the other side.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
good.
he's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So just send it.
so, all right, so the thing is, we know for sure 2301 was the business cycles and the
That we
monetary
assessed.
policy, and it was diminishing marginal utility and production functions.
We reassess.
Okay, so assess and reassess. Let me get these in the right spot now here. I'm sorry, I want to make sure that I have this straight, so I've got the idea here. Okay.
All right, so
I'm
2015,
being Mr. Particular here.
we did economic growth, and what's the other one? So 2015.
So that was 5 and 6 for macro, basically the business cycles and the money supply, and then diminishing marginal utility and production functions, which were also 5 and 6 according to the correct state list for micro. Those were reassessed in the fall. Okay. All righty. So now I have an idea of where we are. My apologies. It's just, I I broke my arm this summer after a bunch of other stuff happened and so forth. It was teaching overload, double overload and everything. So it's been quite kind of a long, strange trip for me. So.
All right, so I'm just gonna say that micro will be assessed and macro reassessed. Am I right about that?
Exactly.
Yes.
That is correct here. So hold on. I'm just gonna save this document into here. Lone Star College.
Hey guys, just send you an invite to participate in the YouTube session. You know, now,
There we go. Fall 2017 here.
okay, then don't worry about it. If you can watch it live, if you have any questions, call. Okay.
Okay, all right. Just call me if you have questions. All right, bye. All right.
Save it as.
Hank, can you send an email out to everybody? Tell them which one to assess for.
Yeah, I'm trying to get, once I get this documented, yes. I'm still in the process of saving the Word document here. Just need a minute or two, just getting caught up. Okay. All righty, SLOs to assess, reassess, last two cycles. Okay. Maybe it's not that. Oh, slash, stupid word, okay. It doesn't like to use a forward slash in a document title for some reason. Okay, alrighty, so fall we assessed here. Let me just make sure, okay, I put this right. Economics 2301 was assessed for the first time, and Economics 2302 was reassessed. Okay. What we assessed for the first time in the fall was identify the phases of the business cycle and the problems caused by cyclical fluctuations in the market economy. Number 6, define money and the money supply. Describe the process of money creation, the banking system, and the role of the central bank.
So it was 5 and 6?
Yeah, that's using the state's official order there.
Okay.
Okay, but a couple of people still didn't have them in the right order, so that's why we're saying them out loud. We reassessed for Econ 2302 and micro. Number 5, summarize the law, diminishing marginal utility, describe the process of utility maximization. Number 6, describe the production functions and the law of diminishing marginal productivity. Calculate and graph short-run and long-run costs of production. That was what we reassessed. So we will be assessing Econ 2302. I'm putting those there now for 2017. Okay. We are reassessing Econ 2301. Okay. Now, so the thing is, we're reassessing the two 2301s we did in the fall. Okay. 5 and 6 are being reassessed. Okay. So I'm going to copy and paste down there. Okay. Now, going over to 2302's SLOs here. Okay, going by the order we have the list in here with the state, the next two in order are identify the 4 market structures by characteristics, calculate and graph the profit maximizing price and quantity in the output markets by use of marginal analysis.
That's number 1.
That's number 7 according to the official list, but again, I'm saying it all the way out. It's 2302. This is being assessed for the first time. Okay, not the course, but the SLO. Okay. And that is number 7. Okay, excuse me just one second. This thing is, one of the things I dislike sometimes is if you're not careful, it moves the I-beam to somewhere else where you don't want it. You have a service, you know what I'm
So
talking
can
about.
you read it again, the number 7?
Identify the 4 market structures by characteristics, semicolon. Calculate and graph the profit maximizing price and quantity in the output markets by use of marginal analysis. Okay, that's number 7. Number 8, determine the profit maximizing price and quantity of resources in factor markets under perfect and imperfect competition by use of marginal analysis. In other words, MRP equals MFC.
Determine what?
Profit maximizing price and quantity of resources. You could say wage rate and number of workers hired for new labor resources in factor markets under perfect and imperfect competition. In other words, purely competitive labor market, one-sided and two-sided monopsony, and imperfect competition by the use of marginal analysis, MRP equals MFC. I'm throwing in the extra commentary along the way, but with all that verbiage is in there. So, okay, hold on. I'm just backing up the truck here to make sure that I've got a few of these other things listed here, just where they were first assessed here. So that means in 2015, it was when we originally assessed O2s, 5 and 6. Okay.
I think we don't have questions from that in the question bank.
Because I thought people were adding more questions to the question bank.
I did, but I didn't.
Did you pass it to the next person?
I just put it on our community group.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
Okay, I'll take a look at that then.
And I named it like I was had input, so when I
okay.
put my
Okay.
input in red.
Okay, so let's see. I'm backing up here, just checking and double checking here. Okay. So 2015. Excuse me. I need to get an external mouse for this thing. Sometimes that. Okay. Okay, all right. So, all right. So the thing is, we do have questions that go with the micro ones we assessed, probably with the macro ones we assessed last fall. We just have to add some for the micro that we're going to assess. The SLOs we're going to assess for the first time for the spring.
Mhm.
Okay.
And those 7 and 8. That's
But I'm saying 7 and 8 is the numbers, but yeah. I'm doing the verbal stuff just because we've had a couple of syllabi that weren't consistent, so, yeah. So the things we have to make questions out, if we don't have them already, for SLO 7 and 8 for 2302. Identify the 4 market structures by characteristics, calculate and graph the profit maximizing pricing quantity in the output markets by use of marginal analysis. Determine profit maximizing pricing quantity of resources and factor markets under perfect and imperfect competition by the use of marginal analysis. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy and paste this into an email since I have my email open right now.
Okay.
And I'm going to send it to everybody. Just give me one moment here to get this thing in here. And it's going to have like the sequence of what was assessed the last couple of years there. But I'm going to, I'm going to go ahead and delete the 2015, 2016 just so we have the ones, okay. Okay. SLOs to assess and reassess for fall 2017. Since we're not all using McConnell, let me delete the chapter numbers. One of the things that I've had us doing, at least at my campus here, and you don't have to, I suggest this here because I think for the students, sometimes when they see that there, and just for the adjuncts, it's a good reminder. I put all the chapter numbers in our textbook by which SLO they're matched to after the SLO, so there's a parenthesis statement there and everything. Okay, so Shuang, okay. And then Gaza, is it G-A-Z-A or G-H-A-Z-A?
G-H-A-Z-A-L. G-H-A-Z-A-L.
Let me search, for some reason not popping up when I'm doing that. Gaza, let's see, nope, come on, search you. G-H-A.
Probably I'm the only Gazelle one.
I know.
You're part of it. Yeah, you are.
There we go. Gazel Bayan Quotebrandi.
Yep,
Okay.
there you go.
I probably said it very wrong. I'm sorry. If I did.
No, that was exactly correct.
Okay.
That's how you
Very
pronounce
sweet,
it.
Ibrahim.
Okay, you're Abu Saad Ibrahim.
Abu Saad,
Abu
okay.
Saad there, and then Edison.
And then Joe.
Edison Timon.
Yeah, no. Why is that Brandy Edison Eccleston coming? Edison Timana. How's it spelled?
T-I-M-A-N-A.
T-I-M-A-N-A.
and A. Search contacts and directories. Yeah, Timana Kana Edison, and then Cahill Joe.
Mhm.
Joseph. It's not going to find Joe for some reason. Search directories. Yeah, so I want to prepare try Cahill, C-H-A-I-L-L. I've emailed all of y'all enough that you should be popping up when I was typing your name. There we go, Joseph Cahill. Okay. All right. I'll put myself in there anyway too, and also you. Okay, I'm sorry, Rittenberg.
Bennett.
Ben, why did I get
Close
Ritten-
though, Rittenberg, Bennett, it's right there.
No, it isn't. I'm trying to do all this stuff all at once. It's
Don't
two
worry
T's
about
or
it.
one T at the end of Bennett.
2 T's. First name is Kirk, K-I-R-K.
Yeah, there we go. And you actually emailed me earlier. Okay. Okay, set importance high. The message options, request a read receipt. Okay. Econ, curriculum.
All right, recommendations.
It's the top part.
That's the tough part. What recommendations do you have from the 2 courses assessed last year, both courses?
I related some of the failure from the students to do some of the question is correlated with attendance.
Yeah.
So maybe we can recommend putting a specific rate of attendance.
Got it.
Okay, so everybody should have that in their email now, that everybody has those listed there. I wish we had the option to pin an email, I can flag it, so
I
yeah.
got it.
Because I want to keep it at the top of my email here, so it doesn't get buried underneath the delusion when I get the next couple of days, okay?
So we're gonna do 5 and 6 for 2, 3, and 1?
Yeah, those are reassessments.
So 5 and
Yes.
6, and then 7, 8.
Reassessment from before.
Yeah, we did those in the fall.
From
Okay.
last year.
I see.
Yeah, last fall. We are assessing brand new, those 2302 ones, 6 and 7 and 8. Okay. I know what I did with my 2301 was I actually changed my course up a little bit. I used to basically have a little bit bigger unit for unit 2. And what I found was happening was when I got to aggregate demand and aggregate supply, the students were getting bogged down in that. And then when we switched to fiscal policy at the end, they were tanking fiscal policy. So I started my second unit. I always start my second unit with business cycles, and then I cover inflation, unemployment, GDP, build up to AD and AS after those are understood. And then I just stopped unit 2 at AD and AS and shifting macro equilibrium, did a test there about 2 weeks earlier, about 2 class periods earlier, excuse me. And then I'd have fiscal policy and monetary policy together with each other. The performance improved and the understanding on the economic policy got better because the students had to first get comfortable shifting AD and AS and understanding that, and then we could extend it to a further level where it came down to. So I know for me, when I did that, I got some better results. After the fall, by just moving fiscal policy to the last unit, having the second unit test earlier, I got a better result about the business cycles, got a better result about the monetary policy too. It's just kind of breaking it up a little bit made a difference for us. So.
Also, during the fall and the spring, we used to teach the consumption function and the saving function.
Right. ISLM model there, yeah.
Drive the aggregate expenditure.
Yeah.
And in the summer course, I didn't have time for that, so I skipped the chapter. And I only gave the aggregate expenditure without actually driving it from consumption.
And the reality is, for a survey course, it's a better thing to do. Building the consumption function up in that granular level is more of an intermediate macro than a survey of macro is what it is.
Probably it's more difficult for the type of the students that get it.
Well, no, I was at a university. When I had my survey of macro and micro courses, we did not have the consumption function.
Yeah,
should
that
have
was
been
for intermediate
macro.
class. Yeah, for me too.
Yeah.
When I was at
Intermediate,
UH, it was
Yeah.
intermediate.
Yeah, that's an intermediate level because it makes it too granular because you have the consumption function, the investment function.
I didn't know that because I thought,
Yeah,
like, usually most of the textbook used to follow Samuelson, and Samuelson had strict
yeah.
emphasizing the consumption
Yeah.
and saving function, ABC and
Yeah, but
ABC
it's
and
one of the
ABS.
answers.
But
So you don't teach that in your class?
No, I don't because
No.
that's an intermediate
Okay, and you
level
won't
macro
now.
thing.
I won from now
Yeah,
because
from now,
what
okay.
happened is the student actually have complained to me that the once I started chapter 19 in Asarta was the consumption function and saving. They said the course is becoming
Difficult.
difficult.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm planning not to.
C plus I plus G plus X minus M is what they can process, not C is equal to this plus this plus this, then I is equal to, no. That's intermediate macro, that's too
So-
granular. They have the chapter in there because some folks that teach an honors class would do that.
Yeah.
But if it's a non-honors class, even at university, that's not something that I would say go to.
Yeah.
So it's not in the SLO, so. You know, it's not
So
required.
it's not in the SLO?
No.
No, it's
The
not.
MPC or?
No, no.
MPS?
No, it's not. Some people like to use MPC and MPS on a very
You
basic
still can
level.
give it.
For a simple spending multiplier,
Because
yes.
In order to give them the multiplier, they have to know what is MPC because.
But the whole thing is like the money multipliers tend to be a little more relevant, but the thing is the spending multipliers have been debunked in recent years just because of like we've had too much debt that's been kind of eroding its ability to work the way it used to. It's broken down sometimes. So it used to work much better in the golden age of Keynesian macroeconomics.
No,
So
but that doesn't change because you're only changing the theory.
I got you.
Apply.
Yeah,
I
I just briefly talk about the multiplier.
yeah,
That's what
Me
I
too.
do.
Very
I talk about the multiplier. I give them the MPC and the multiplier equal one minus MPC, but that's it.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
give them the formula.
yeah.
Just
Don't
tell
do
them,
consumption equals autonomous
Yeah.
consumption
keep it
plus
simple.
income-based
They don't
consumption.
Yeah, I just tell them, for the multiplier, this is the formula, and just memorize it.
Yeah, that's it.
What I did to them, I said like, If you want to close your eyes, I'm going to prove it to you on the board. So either as a
I
math-
tell students, saying, if you can't follow the math, just trust that somebody a lot smarter than you or me figured this out already, and they know the math, and just
Good
have faith in them.
explanation.
Have faith in them.
So I heard two recommendations so far and a possible third. The first one wasn't discussed, but even you talked about weighting attendance.
Weight on attendance, higher weight on attendance. I'm not sure each one's weight on attendance, but my weight is 10%. I split it 5% in attendance and 5% for quizzes and in-class quizzes. I might actually remove the attendance at all.
Just do the in-class quiz.
And do the in-class quizzes.
That's
and
what I
put them
do.
one every class.
I have 10% for attendance, and typically I have good attendance in my classes.
What I do is I have a
But
disincentive
attendance
if
is not
somebody
enough.
misses too many classes in a row. Like I start taking point off your total average once you've missed
That's what I
5
wanted to
classes.
say. I have
Every class you
punishment
miss
for
after
them
that's,
too.
1 point, 1 point, 1
Yep.
point, and it starts to take away from the final average.
Uh-huh.
And
That's what I do.
that's how I did disincentive rather than saying the attendance is worth 10%, because I don't want to give them 10% just for showing up. I want them to show up and participate.
I have 10%, then I have 2 points for
Mhm.
every class that I think they're allowed to
Mhm.
miss 3 classes.
Yeah.
After that, they lose 2 points, and they get points for participation in class.
So you have an adaptive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Adaptive.
Yeah.
Schedule. That's
Mhm.
good.
Yeah. What I've
So
done
if they
also, yeah.
participate, if I give them like questions to solve or discussion, and if they do that, then they will get a point.
So we could word the recommendation, not, everyone obviously does not have to do the same thing, but maybe to.
Emphasize the rule of attendance in the syllabus.
Yeah.
Kirk, we have the 6 and drop rule,
Say
right?
that again?
6 and drop. So if anybody meets 6 classes, we can drop them.
Yeah.
What it is like you don't have to.
Right.
But the way I phrase it in my syllabus is essentially faculty reserves the right
To drop
to
any.
withdraw students from
Yes.
course who have missed 6 classes or more for any reason, okay? However, okay, if a student misses 6 classes and faculty does not drop them, then there's these point penalties that come off your final average, 1 point off the total final average for every class missed after 6.
Okay, so in our business department,
Yeah,
we decided actually to drop them if they miss 20%.
yeah, and and 6 is about that.
That's about the same.
Hey guys, Edison has a suggestion.
Okay, I'm listening, Edison.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I was hearing your discussion on attendance, and what I do is that I have an implied attendance policy. So in my classroom, I have my own currency, and what I do is that I set up questions at the end of each chapter for the entire class to do. So even though there's no attendance policy per se, if you don't attend class, you're not going to earn this policy, this currency that can be used for extra credit. So so if you don't go to class, you're not going to make this currency. So I tell my students, well, it's not a requirement for you to attend class, but if you don't attend class, you're
It's
obviously
a
not
good
going
idea.
to get a copy of the in-class questions that I have, which helps with understanding it, and you're also not going to get this currency, which helps at the end of the semester. And most of my students try to save their currency until the end, and then they cash it all in, or some of them can cash it in the middle of the semester, or whenever they get a bad test grade. But I have found that works more as an incentive as opposed to us just telling them, well, you have to attend class because it's part of your grade, because then they feel obligated, and they almost feel as if you're forcing them to go to class. I like to leave it on them and just provide them an incentive, and usually most students react positively to that.
I've also occasionally assigned pre-work, and when there's been pre-work assigned, it's like, if I call you to the board to show some of the pre-work and you say, I don't have it, there's a penalty off your next test. If you have it and it's wrong, no penalty. If you have it and it's right, 1 or 2 points added to the next test. So it can push you up or pull you down, but I especially try to do the pre-work when it's related to the assessments we're doing that semester.
So is everyone okay with the wording of the recommendation? Emphasize the importance of attendance by weighting this in the syllabi and or incentivizing attendance.
Yeah,
Yes.
incentivizing, yes.
Okay, all right. Second recommendation was, I think you had talked about shifting, and I don't know all the lingo, but shifting.
What it was is
something
I
later.
had, most of us, I don't know about everybody else, but most of the contract I've talked to, we typically have 3 units. We have like a foundational unit, which has got market supply, market demand, circular flow, foundational definitions and stuff like that. We then have a unit where we deal with like business cycles, gross domestic product, inflation, unemployment, and the aggregate curves.
Right.
And the thing is, some professors, me until last year, would also include fiscal policy in that second unit. And what I did was like, for the third unit, then the third unit was money and banking and international stuff. What I did was I took the fiscal policy and I shifted to the third unit and grouped with monetary policy. So all the economic policies in one unit. And I actually was already doing the international stuff because I was dealing with foreign currency exchange and how it affects export spending, other factors that gets related to GDP. I basically made that the international component and cleaned up the other stuff that wasn't needed there, and just lumping the fiscal policy with the monetary policy produced a much better result. It shortened the second unit test, and it made the stuff a little more cohesive. So
Fiscal policy and monetary policy are the last things basically that I teach.
yeah, and that's the way I have it now. Fiscal policy and monetary policy are my last unit. And having shifted to
Because you
that,
should
makes a huge
understand aggregate
difference.
demand, aggregate supply before that.
Exactly, and there's a test after
And then you
aggregate
have
demand
it,
supply.
exactly. That's
And
what
I
I
wasn't doing that before, and I always would have this
Macro,
big,
2001.
I would always have this big drop when fiscal policy hit. And so after shifting fiscal policy to a third unit and having the second test sooner and having it a little shorter, it made a huge difference in performance. The students kind of needed that pause there, and I had been stubborn because I was just used to teaching it that way.
What I did is, what that is very brilliant to shift the office. I didn't actually think about it. What I did is, after I finished the fiscal policy, because I needed to teach them both fiscal and monetary on the aggregate demand and aggregate supply model. So what I did is I gave them the effect of an expansionary and contraction in monetary policies on the aggregate demand and
Easy
aggregate
insight,
supply.
yeah.
And then when I went back to the monetary policy, I told them what is an expansion.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
remember on the
Okay.
CERTA book, in the ASET chapter, they actually talk about the expansion and the contraction.
Yes.
I saw the graph on it, yeah.
They do. And then they explain it in the last chapter.
Yeah, that's
By
probably the
way,
most important chapter in the
I
entire
think
program.
one of the other recommendation I would recommend for no classes to adopt ASARTA.
What?
Why?
It's one of
Which
the worst
textbook?
textbooks.
ASARTA?
ASARTA Brutus.
I've never read that one,
Me
so.
too.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
one
You
would
didn't
be,
like it?
I didn't like it. It has a lot of mistakes, and also the language. It's
Yeah,
it's different.
I heard from many accounts they don't like CERTA either because the PowerPoint is really bad.
The PowerPoint is really bad. That's number one. Number two.
I'd rather
is-
choose Mancu than
They
that. I
don't
don't
have
care
a
for
read
Mancu
text.
either, so.
So the textbook is the video.
Yeah.
So, and the textbook that they give you
Who's
is
the
just some
publisher?
practice questions.
McGraw-Hill.
Who?
McGraw-Hill.
Seriously, I never heard of even that textbook. Oh.
That's a new textbook they have. They try to push it out.
Well, all I know is Liz didn't try to push it on us. I'm very glad she didn't.
Yeah.
We just went with our next version of McConnell because,
Yeah, we 21.
It's,
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
cheaper than
That- that's-
McConnell, but I think
How
that
much is it?
yeah, but
Oh,
it's
is
not
it?
saying being
It's
cheaper
cheaper.
than McConnell doesn't make
Yeah.
it better than McConnell.
no, it's not. I think the publisher has a bigger margin on it. That's why they try to push it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How much is it?
I think when they tried to tell me it was like 160 something.
We got a good deal.
Yeah, how much is it?
You know Harvard O'Brien? $67 at the bookstore
Oh, wow.
For a semester.
for a semester.
Yeah.
Not for a year.
Oh, wow.
For a year, you get the higher price from,
Yeah.
from online. This is the bookstore price, and actually what Pearson gets is only $55.
Oh, wow.
so I'm gonna word the second one as teach fiscal policy and monetary policy at the same time.
At
And then the final unit of the
At the
course.
end of
At the
the,
end of
And then
the
the last
at the
unit of
end
the
of the
course.
Okay.
semester.
last unit of the course.
So teach them at the same time and at the end of the course?
End of the course, right?
Yeah.
That's what I-
And the last unit into the course, yeah.
Before I lose everybody.
And I said, I made that shift between fall and spring and it made a huge difference in the performance and everything.
Yeah, I
It was,
understand that,
And I should have thought of this sooner. I don't know why I didn't. I guess a lot of us, I was just so used to teaching like fiscal policy right after 88S and having it on one big test.
Yeah.
It's a matter of sometimes we have to adapt, you know?
Well, there's also a problem.
Could I intervene for a second?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Edison, go ahead.
Okay. Well, this summer I saw an MIT open course on
OpenStack.
principles of economics, and what they were doing over there was that they were actually starting with fiscal and monetary policy and going on with everything else. And of
No.
course, what they were doing was a lot more complicated, but it does work instance, you don't really need to have a background in economics if you're first going to deal with the Federal Reserve and money and what is money. So that could also be a suggestion. So I think if you do it at the very beginning or at the very end, it could work.
Yeah, Edison, I think this could be a writing enhancement course if you check the credits for that course. I think this one particularly could be depends heavily on the verbal analysis. So I think that it could be a writing enhancement course more than a principal course. I'm not sure, but I think you might need to double check that.
And then for students at MIT, that might be a good fit.
Yeah, but for long-term college or HCC, no.
No, I doubt even in MIT if they take a principal course, there's two types of MIT students. MIT who are taking principal course that is related to business, and some people they take
general study,
macroeconomics that are related more to government. I think that would be more relation to the government than into the business. But if they're taking business-oriented macroeconomics, then they have to take it the traditional way.
Any other recommendations from the two courses last year?
I have a problem, but I'm not sure how to fix it. If you have a recommendation, I think that the 4 chapters that I teach every time from every textbook on the macro, the first 4 chapters, are too much micro.
That's a state issue, though. Like I actually was telling Schwan, I got into a big conflict because one of my adjuncts told me I will not teach SLO number 3 in macro because it's micro, and my response is. To that, I got the department chair and the dean to talk to her about it. This is what the state requires. If you don't want to teach that in that course, you cannot teach that course and you won't teach here. It's a compliance issue. Now, again, I understand the argument that it's too much micro, but here's the counter argument. Aggregate demand and aggregate supply have their roots in market demand and market supply.
Right.
Also, a lot of students that are taking survey courses, they are much more able to relate to things as an individual consumer with small markets than at the big ones. And so you start small and aggregate and build up. That gives them a way to interface. So I see that there's value in it, even though it's micro.
It is. You know? But I think we can start by demand and supply, because what bothers me is the first chapter of the book that keep talking about the marginal way of thinking.
That's more micro.
It's
Marginal
micro.
analysis blows up at the macro level because there's too many variables and you can't
And
control
they're not
them
going
all
to
the
use
time.
it in the macro.
That is the only time that you discuss marginal exactly in macro.
Exactly.
MPS, MPC, MPT, and most of those don't work very well anymore anyway, so.
You're absolutely right. But we
So
have
I
to
think
teach.
it might be a recommendation that we skip the first chapter in the macro that talks about.
Does it say anything about
Marginal
marginal analysis in the SLOs for macro?
I
'Cause
don't
believe
think
it
the
does.
marginal analysis is ever mentioned, because the marginal analysis is more.
It's
like
only really
the-
mentioned in one part of the first chapter of McConnell, but it's got the other definitions. What are land,
takes
labor,
time.
capital, entrepreneurship?
Takes time.
But
What's
you
one
have to
week.
go over it, right?
Well,
Yeah, I don't
land,
think
labor,
in
capital,
macro-
entrepreneurship, we have to go over. What's
Yeah.
money? What are the functions of money? Medium exchange, standard of value, source value, standard deferred payment, all those things. That's fine. But yeah, the marginal analysis is not really necessary in macro.
No, it's not.
Yes.
I mean, from Mankiw, I mean,
Thank you
the
is
first
one who
chapter,
started it.
but in the first chapter, they have like a 10 topic, right?
10.
And then
They have 10,
that is
I don't
one
like
of it.
Mankey's
Marginal
10 deal. That's
analysis is
another to
one.
overload the students, I think. It's just kind of wrong into
It
thinking.
is, exactly, I agree. That's very distracting, because
I think-
you're trying to say, we are, as economists, are special, or we are different than other people by the marginal analysis, by the opportunity cost, by that and that. And to bring 10 things that you are really different than other subjects are impossible. I think only marginal analysis and opportunity costs that make us different from accountants, for example. To have 10, and some books make it 5, and they put their effort and try to make it different than Mankiw and try to make it different than Samuelson. It's more like the author put himself into that chapter. So
Yeah.
It's not actually a principle.
And that was, what was that one called?
So usually the first chapter in most of the econ textbook in the market.
The marginal analysis was the one you wanted to
No, it's fundamentals
analysis
of
is in the SLO.
economics. They call it fundamentals.
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing is in chapter 1 basically has a whole bunch of fundamental definitions in there, and marginal analysis typically is a couple of pages in there.
And they
it's
get
not-
bored when you
It's
go
not
over
in our
the first chapter.
SLOs for
Oh,
macro.
You can
I mean, the
see
stuff
from
about
their
land,
faces.
labor, capital, and entrepreneurship is in there, and that we have to cover. Usually chapter
Yeah.
2 has
Yeah.
circular
Yeah.
flow. And there's actually 8
It's
different
important,
versions of
yeah.
circular flow. I use the modified closed version, but I also mentioned you've got a simple version of your textbook, but this one includes the government, and I kind of compare the two. And usually when you put the government right in the middle, everybody's like, aha, this makes a lot of sense here. You see the taxes going into the government, and this other stuff going out. And so
You don't all use
that's
the
all
same
fine.
textbook, do you?
No, we don't.
No, but
We don't use those same,
standard.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
common
There's
material across all of
standard
them.
between all of the
Yeah.
textbooks.
Okay, so are we, is the recommendation to don't teach chapter one or to don't teach some specific things?
Well-
Specific things in chapter
Okay,
one.
and those
Yeah,
are-
specifically for macro, for 2301,
For macro, especially.
for macro, unless the instructor just really wants to do this, don't teach
Make it
marginal
optional.
analysis.
Yeah.
I didn't see marginal analysis in macro. It's in micro, and it has to be in micro.
But the problem is, in
Also-
micro, you don't have to give them the margin in the beginning.
Not
You
the
can-
front. You give it when you get to
can-
MRU,
give them
MC, or
exactly
marginal
when you get to
utility.
the
So you
production
also
function.
teach McGrail, right?
Pardon?
You also.
Yeah, I
use-
mean, we've been using McConnell the last couple of years. We're going with 21st edition. of the fall.
So in chapter 4, when you discuss public goods and everything, again, there is a marginal analysis.
I actually don't. I've never taught it in Unit 1 for macro because it's not in the SLOs. It's not relevant. I never
Right,
have.
well, we'll do for 20.
I teach it in micro when we get to the utility model because that's where it's relevant.
Okay.
Okay, and then the thing is, there is no mention of marginal analysis
I
in
skipped
the
that
macro
part
SLOs.
in my
There
macro.
is none. Okay, it's just that unfortunately they're putting it in the textbooks there is
Yeah.
what it's coming down
So I'm
to.
saying in 2301, consider not covering marginal analysis. This is more of a microeconomic topic and
Mhm.
not in the macro SLOs. Is everyone
Yes.
okay
Well,
with
we
that?
don't want to say marginal analysis because
We don't.
actually, if we are teaching chapter 19, the marginal analysis is required.
So don't cover marginal analysis in chapter one.
In chapter 1,
Not
in the very
specifically
beginning
marginal
unit, no,
analysis.
not in the beginning
Let's
unit.
say some of the fundamental concepts of chapter 1 that belongs more to the author's points of view.
And all the chapter ones in
rather
the
than
different
the
textbooks are the
principles.
same?
So
They have a
Similar.
lot of the same
Very
things.
similar.
Okay,
They're similar.
so if we
They
say,
have the
Like
four
a
economic
foundation
resources, we have to cover that. They have some other concepts like circular flow, we need to cover that. They have some concepts about economic systems, there's several opinions, you can show it what the chapter does, you can use other materials, that needs to be covered.
Okay.
But the thing is, you don't need to cover marginal analysis in the first chapter of the beginning unit, because it's more applicable
But in the
to later
definition,
units.
We don't want to just call it margin analysis. Because
Okay.
If you say if you're not covering margin analysis,
Well, it's not relevant to that
Yeah.
unit as well, as I'm afraid, it's relevant to later units.
oh, that is the idea. Don't teach it in the first unit, but you can
Teach it when it occurs in the
when it
later
occurs in the
units.
later units. Yeah,
okay, so
that
in
would
Econ
be
2301,
the
consider not
Yeah.
covering marginal analysis, the topic of marginal analysis in the first unit.
Of
Yes.
macro, yes,
Okay.
sir, of 2301.
But postpone it to when it's
Or
later
just macro. For micro, we
used
have to
and
teach it.
when it's used.
Yeah,
in
but it's
later
also covered in
units.
later units and micro also.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can do that actually in both micro and macro because it's covered in later units in micro and macro.
Okay.
So does anyone have the team goals from your goals from last year? I may have that attachment.
It was basically finishing our test bank.
Okay, finishing the test bank.
Mhm.
So were we able to
I
achieve the
don't think
goal?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Because we passed
But you
it
say we don't have questions for 7 and 8, right?
for micro, yeah.
For micro, so it's not
But I
done yet.
added the question under every SLO.
You did.
But we don't have like, say, like the five questions.
We
for
wanted to
SLO.
have, yeah, at least 5 questions.
Because
Yes.
I didn't understand that I need to add a whole SLO. I only thought
So
but I
now
need
the
to add
next
my question
person
under
after
each
you
SLO.
should add more questions.
then
For
probably.
each SLO,
Yeah.
yes.
I need to check
Who is
it for
next?
SLO. Timana's next.
Simona will
Oh.
be next, yeah.
So I'll say the goal was to complete the test bank and it's in process.
In process, that's the
Okay.
way to phrase it, yes, sir.
So is the goal for this semester to complete the test
Yes.
bank or?
Mhm.
Okay.
Let's go beyond that.
So that can be one of our goals.
No,
No.
we wanna finish it and update it.
Finish
Okay,
that
so
thing, yeah.
complete
And then
update.
update, yeah.
Okay, test bank.
Abraham, you put the questions into the community group, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
I'll take a
Hank,
look at that.
I was thinking that you remember we did a lot of questions for the class for UP for the CPD.
Yeah,
We can use those questions for our question
well, I
bank.
included those in the test bank when we
Okay.
started with it.
Okay.
Those were actually included in there.
Yeah, because those questions that we made ourselves, so those. would
Yeah,
be-
we made up a
those are
lot of
great
them
questions,
ourselves,
yeah.
correct.
And is there a point person on the team to make sure that it gets completed this semester?
Are you with us, Timana?
Yes, I'm here.
Well, I'm sorry, I was late from my side on those updating the SLOs. I know you should have
Oh, it's
them
okay. No, yeah.
a long time ago. So after you're done, You're gonna send them to whom?
Oh, no, I thought when we communicated via email, I thought you were going to see them and then send them to me, and then I was going to send them to somebody else, right?
Yes. I did. I put them in the community group, but I can send them to you. Yes.
Oh, okay, great. So then I'll take a look at it this week, and then I don't know by when do you guys want it? Give me a couple of weeks. And who do I have to send it to?
Okay, who should take it over from you?
Because you did yours.
I
Yeah,
started, yeah.
You started.
And then Hank, you put the question there too.
You did.
And I put the question there too.
You did.
So you
Uh,
did, so you
Joe-
did.
What about Joe Cahill? Did
No,
he?
I don't think so.
So probably Timana can finish it and give it.
Yeah, so
To
so
Joe.
Edison, when you finish, send it to Cahill. He should be the next person.
Or maybe you can just upload it again in the.
Oh, yeah,
the
you know what, do
community
this,
group.
yeah.
That's easier, then everybody
Yes.
can.
Right,
can
so
You
use.
can
So-
update it.
That's
and,
a good idea, actually.
So yeah, Edison, when you finish, just upload it into the community group on D2L. That
And
way,
send us an email.
and then that way everybody have access to it.
Yeah.
And
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
and when you send it the email, you probably want to mention that Joe can take it
Yeah.
over.
Yeah,
Okay.
one question per, and I'm gonna do it, eventually works its way back to me and Schwan.
Mhm.
Is it CAHIL?
C
C
A
H
Double L.
H
ILL.
I L K Hill, yeah, C A H, excuse me.
Okay. So I'm just gonna say the goal is to complete and update the test bank. Edson tomorrow will add to the bank and upload to the community group. Joe Cahill will take it from there.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay? AA, we don't have an AA, three pathways. Do you guys, any of you guys on the pathways team or anything like that?
Pathway depends
No.
on where we are.
No.
Are we planning to meet in the spring curriculum or not?
Oh, the spring, we have to, right?
Spring.
Yeah, we have to.
Oh, no, I mean the second day.
The
The
October
second
one? No.
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 The second one.
We don't need to meet again.
All right, that checklist is done. Thank you very much.
All right, great.
Good. Econ. This is us, right? Community group econ faculty.
Yeah, that should be one.
And Edson?
Yes.
Which one you prefer to call you, Edson or Timana?
Oh, my students call me Timana, but I mean, I don't know, Edson is fine.
Okay.
So you're not a friend. in other words.
All right.
My friends call me Timana, but you can call me
I
Edson.
go by Eddie.
Eddie!
Eddie, oh, Eddie's fine.
Edson, you should
Eddie
not have
is
told me
nice.
that.
How do you spell it?
EDDIE.
You
Like
should-
Eddie Murphy.
Edson, you should
All right.
not have told me that, man.
Thank you.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for that. His office is right next to mine.
Oh,
so-
cool.
Okay, so.
Okay, so that's the updated one.
Yeah. Yeah, I found it.
And then Joe is from Tomball?
Top.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's it for me.
Is he the one with the Russian last name? No.
Who has Russian last name?
There's one like Kozlovsky.
Oh, no. Oh, Victor. Victor, yeah.
Victor
Yeah.
Mosoki.
Something like that.
Mhm.
And he's not even Russian.
He's not Russian?
No, he's not.
He was so Canadian.
So who would like to be copied on, who's, are you chair? Co-chair?
Me and Schwan are the
Co-chair.
co-chair.
I'll copy you both on
Okay.
this when I send it in
Thanks.
to
Yeah.
Susie.
Basically, we do how many percent of the classes micro?
What do you mean by
The
percent?
classes that have been choose to assess. Usually 70% of the classes or 40%.
That's more than 40%. It's more than 40%.
40%.
No, it's more than 40%.
70%.
I've seen 70%.
70%.
100% what?
So if we
The
teach
classes
them
when you
10
assess.
classes, then I have to assess 7.
What?
Yeah.
I just assess everybody.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing, is assessing everybody.
It's easier that way. I mean, we don't have to pick and choose.
We
Just-
assess all the full timers, but we pick some of the adjuncts
Yeah.
that they were good in the past and they
Okay.
would,
Yeah.
It's good to assess everything. No, I'm assessing every instructor, but I'm talking about every course.
Every
as well.
classes.
Every classes. just
Every
assessing.
class, yeah.
Yeah, as much as we can,
Make it
yeah.
easier for everybody.
Much easier.
Did you also assess your dual credit classes? Do you have any
Mm-mm.
I
dual
don't know if I
credit?
have a dual credit.
No,
We
what
didn't.
it is, we have dual credit students that are in normal classes. We don't have any classes that are 100% dual credit, so.
We have
We
one
have to.
every year, so.
The thing is, usually those students tend to be very good, though. They actually skew you upwards if you have that. At least that's been my experience anyway.
Do you guys have any online dual credit classes?
Online, no.
I have dual credit
We
students in
don't
an online
have-
class, but,
We
you know.
don't have dual credit classes.
You don't
We have
have-
dual credit students
we have-
in regular
Okay.
classes.
Because we had not for econ, but for other discipline over there, we had a dual credit
Online?
dual credit online, and then they got a problem last semester because there was one high school that's supposed to proctor everybody at the same classroom for the test, and then the person who was proctoring was helping the student cheat.
Oh, no
Oh,
way.
gosh.
So that was a problem for us.
And why there is a
Oh,
proctoring
wow.
issue? I mean, they can just do the software, and even if they use the software, they're gonna bring different examples to everyone.
Just always Quizlet.
I just don't like online.
I was actually told by my department chair that
They can
online
cheat
classes are supposed to have at least
And
one major
it doesn't
grade,
matter
like
how
a midterm
difficult
or
you
final
make the
exam that's
test, they
proctored. Either
still
they go to an
cheat.
assessment center
I
for any
always
Lone Star
have
College, or they
great
have to
student
go to if they're
grades
remote, they have to
from
go to a
my
local
online
college or a
students.
library or something.
And there's
That's
no
what I was told by
solution.
Wow,
But the
that
way-
is not-
the way
that's my department chair told me.
That's
That's the
interesting.
class. They-
Like
that's
the
if you
first I've
go-
heard of
if
it.
you
In
go
class
to
or
the
testing
TOEFL,
center.
for example,
Yeah.
TOEFL
But that's
or,
more for you.
But the
GMAT,
thing
Yeah.
is,
Even
I
if all of them
suggested
get
the
same
testing,
exam, they're not gonna
taking
be
the
able to
test
have
at the
each other.
testing
Yeah.
center
Because
in our
time is-
department meeting.
is-
And
is
our
a
chair
relevant
told
factor.
me,
Yeah.
don't do that because the
It's
testing
exam
center
centers.
doesn't like it.
Yeah.
They
So
got
that's
overwhelmed.
what I
Because
do is I
you're
put,
gonna,
like,
going to send,
specific
let's say
time,
I have
specific
3
question,
online classes, and
question
this
different
semester I have
information,
hybrid, so it will be 5. 5 times 28,
Accounting, for
right?
example.
So
does
they
have
don't
to
like
do
it.
that for
And it's not just
any
me,
class that
then if
goes
I do
towards
it, the adjuncts will do
Everybody,
it,
yeah.
so
So they
they're
do
not
have
gonna
to
like
do
it,
that.
so.
Maybe she
What
was
can I
applying
do?
it for the
What can I
CPA to
do?
all the business courses then, or she meant that there's.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
Oh, so we have a new 8-week course for our team, and then what we do is the same cohort, so same group students. They take the 2301 for the first 8 weeks, and then 2302 in the second 8 weeks.
Okay.
Oh,
Now
All the
that-
same students?
Oh, yeah, that's.
Yeah, and then that way we can
You're
for,
Online or face to face?
for online.
You block
Okay.
that, so the 2302
Right.
second 8 week can only be taken by the ones who did the first 8
Exactly,
week.
right. So
Okay.
that way,
A little different, yeah.
for 2302, we don't have to teach the first section anymore. For the
You
first
don't
4
do that.
chapters,
Oh,
it's already
okay.
covering the 2301.
That's brilliant.
So they actually save a lot of time.
Good, but how can you control it? I mean,
Control.
so basically, no one is allowed to take the second course
So-
until they take the first one?
Yeah, so for those 2 classes, it's the same group. So to take 2302, you must be registered for 2301 for the first 8 weeks.
Oh,
Mm.
But you still can take 2301 or 2302, but don't take the other one.
You can't.
You can't take the second 8 week 2302,
right,
you
so
gotta
to
take the
take
full
the-
one.
Yes.
To take
So
the
first
second one, must take
micro,
the first one. Right,
Yeah.
2301 is the
First
first
one
one.
is micro, and then they take the macro.
Right.
But they can just take micro and don't.
Sure,
take
they can,
macro.
yeah, they can,
Yeah.
sure. But
Yeah.
students,
But you
when they
cannot
choose that, they
register
want to
that
take the
unless
both
they
together.
take
Yeah.
it.
But it's online, right?
Online.
Online.
What if I took the micro last year? I still can go to the 8-week too?
They gotta be
It has to be.
No, that's right, keep the same cohort.
It's a cohort,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, that's really good idea.
That's
And
really
you save a lot of time and also get more
I don't know how
students.
And you're finding enrollments are
Yeah,
pretty,
I mean,
pretty solid. in
I got
that?
a full enrollment right now.
I'm not having
Fantastic.
a
Oh,
problem
that's
in creating
Well, I would do that if I was a
courses,
student.
courses.
That's-
Yeah,
that's
we
a
got
great
2
option.
classes out in 1 semester.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
pretty
doing it in government as well.
In one
Okay.
semester,
25 and
exactly.
6, yeah,
Exactly.
and history. So you can take your, history and government, the first 2
Mhm.
in the first 8 weeks, second 2 in the second 8 weeks.
That's
knock out 4
brilliant.
classes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's really.
And then the
good.
same for econ, like there's stuff that's overlapping between 2 classes.
Sure,
So
Mhm.
now they're getting just one
Yeah.
take.
that's
There is
brilliant.
there's a competition between the campuses, between courses.
The competition.
Over
For
courses,
online
between
classes, I
campuses.
guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Online versus
Yeah,
online.
sometimes, yeah.
It is.
Well, I don't know why all of our onlines are full.
Same here.
Yeah, that's
Same for
exactly what
us.
happens. My micro classes don't fill up, but my macro, every summer, 30 students, boom, boom, boom.
Why
easily.
don't we offer more online in all of these campuses?
Do do you find that the summer ones are students at four-year schools that are trying to knock out?
They're about, from my
Yeah.
about half of them.
Yeah,
They're,
oh,
they're
50%,
trans-
okay.
There's
Yeah,
definitely
I thought it was-
If we put that a recommendation in our curriculum, that we can bring it to the deans and tell them this is the curriculum.
For
Committee. that-
Online, offering more online
Even,
classes.
even for the
And
regular
I-
semester,
I
yeah.
just talked to him
Mhm.
about it. So I started teaching, this semester, I'll be teaching 2 hybrid classes because I just had a baby less than a month ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
Mhm.
Thank you. So, and we don't have any maternity leave, so
Sorry.
I know, that's fine.
Congratulations, sorry.
So my load is 5, so I'll be teaching 3 online and then 2 hybrid instead of having 2 face-to-face classes. So have you guys, and I checked actually, there are some campuses that are offering actually hybrid classes in econ, and I didn't know.
Yeah, some campuses are, we're talking about exploring that at UP. We have hybrid classes in math and other courses. So.
But not in econ, right?
No,
So
Yeah,
in-
we're
at
talking
our
about trying to develop
campus-
one. We've talked about that, actually.
It will
We
be
have-
interesting.
we
I
have
will-
it in most
I will
high
share my
schools.
experience later with you
We
guys,
have
but
it in one of the centers, I think, or a high school or something like that,
but it filled up like easily. My Tuesday class, boom, like the first week of probably the registration week, it was full. I think people like it.
what time is the, it's one's on Tuesday, one's on Saturday?
Saturday, yeah.
Because a lot of students will have over here, they're also doing classes at the four-year universities. So when you're doing hybrid, it's either on the schedule.
Mhm.
It's much easier on the schedule.
So.
And it's
so
not every week,
Yeah.
so it's every
No,
other.
it's like every
week,
other
so-
Friday for like 3 hours.
Since all of the online courses fill up in all of the campuses, we are not competing over online. We're actually in the online, we're competing with HTC and other schools. but
University of
not
Phoenix
with each other.
sometimes.
Maybe.
Can we offer more online classes?
We do.
One of the things we've been running into though is
That's-
apparently there's this assistant policy, somebody's been quoting at me, but I've never seen the actual wording of it, that if you're teaching full-time, you have to teach most of your courses face-to-face. You can't teach more than a certain percent online.
Mhm.
But you can
Yeah,
take
we're-
them as overloads.
Yeah.
That was
we're
my
doing,
problem because I wanted to go
like,
fully
I have faculty
online,
that
but
do 2
the college
face-to-face and
Okay.
3 online.
Okay.
They have to
So
do-
yeah, I mean,
Well, in my
you know,
college, they say.
we're
you have to
limited
do 3
brick and mortar
face-to-face.
space. is
Okay,
really
you're right,
cool.
right.
And that's what I teach.
So
people.
online's
what I've
where
been
we're
told
finding our
also.
growth.
Exactly, right, that's where
But
you don't require room.
The
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Same here.
So we're adding
I
online,
know
and we
even
do
some
quite a few
faculty
hybrids
here
too.
in
Those
my
have really good
campus,
success
like
rates.
there,
Doing
that
3
they
and 2.
teach.
I think you can be as
No,
creative
sir,
as your
fully
your
online.
VPI would allow you
Okay.
to be. Yeah.
That's why I was fighting, and I was like,
Spell your
okay,
last
I
name.
know, but I don't
Exio?
want it to tell their names,
short
but
and
I
easy.
know some people are doing that, but for me, they said, no, you can't. So the only thing that they approved was instead of having 2 online, they gave me 3 online. And then we came up with 2 hybrid,
And I was looking at accounting next
which is
door.
not fair.
They're teaching in the summer all online. They don't show up.
Really?
And I go there from 7:30 in the morning, 2 classes in a row, each one 3 hours.
I know.
In the
Yeah,
summer.
we're gonna be, I do think within the next few years, we will have some full-time online
Online
positions,
Yeah.
faculty positions. Yeah, I do. I mean, that's where everything is really.
When we have the online college.
Yeah, I know that for a while we tried to have this Lone Star Online College to go, and that just went nowhere.
Well, because a lot of the
Oh.
campuses didn't want to give up the online sections
Yeah.
that were booking,
Right.
is what some of it was.
Yeah, I was going to LSC online, and then the
Mhm.
campuses are losing enrollments, and
So they said no.
so.
Some of them just did
They're
not care
not
about
gonna
that.
lose enrollment because all of the online fills up. Fills up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Pretty
That's right. So they don't want to give those up to LSC online, because then the campus doesn't get credit for those enrollments.
Right.
We're still gonna get credit because this is a different school.
Yeah, we can just add like more online classes, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know why, how we're gonna do it, because the problem comes from the deans.
Hey, Suzie, are we the problem? We are often the problem. I'm okay with that.
To be honest, it's usually in the dean's hands.
Uh-huh.
And what happened is the department chair has to consult with the dean to offer a course. And then, for example, when you offer 8-week 2, you don't get credit for it. It's just like a costume over your children as a division. But when you offer it at least 14, late 14 week, you can still get credit for it. So there is like a big deal
How many 8-week
about
classes
which
do you
one to
have?
offer,
This
which
is the
one
first
is not
one
to
we have.
offer, because you have
Oh,
these
you
two
didn't
late
have it in the
start,
past?
or
Oh.
8 weeks.
Because we typically have
And
2 every year,
it
every
takes from
semester.
other-
Okay.
I've taught 8-week
One,
classes before. I used to have like 2 every
um,
semester, but they didn't
micro,
make too
one
well.
micro.
Micro, we stopped doing them.
Yeah.
I remember Cypher
teen,
here
we have at
last
least
year, they were
number of
told
some
strictly
classes
not
for
to offer more
Oh,
classes.
okay.
And what they did in some subjects,
So-
they just
Oh, we can
offer
even
more
offer those classes more.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah,
And they just,
there's always
they-
the tension between, offering more than you can pay for and growing, right? And so balancing your budget and growing is where the real tension is at that level. And so, it is a tough conversation.
And especially us, we have a problem because our capacity in each class is 35 students, it's 28 in Cypher.
28.
It's
yeah.
30 at Lawrence, at UP.
So how many 8-week classes you typically have every semester?
We actually stopped doing them because they weren't making very well. Every now and again, we might add one in the second 8 weeks. We would do the things. When I started there, we would actually have a couple of them, about 12 to 16 students. But then like the enrollment began dropping, or the first 8 weeks would make,
Really?
but the second one wouldn't. And so we
Because I
stopped doing
have
them.
one 8 weeks, which just starts in October,
Yeah, second 8 weeks.
and it just filled up like very fast.
Last semester I had.
Well,
to-
you guys also have the largest campus of all of us here.
I did.
So with our
Oh,
econ
No, but
finally
still, we
growing.
only have
Yeah,
2
yeah, no
8
worries.
weeks,
Yeah.
classes.
We used to do 2 every semester,
season.
one micro, one macro. It's just they weren't making very well.
Okay,
and so we
because
stopped doing
ours
them.
is doing pretty good, so
Ours were not. It
I was
just-
wondering why we're not offering more 8-week
It
classes.
depends upon the campus.
The campus,
As
yeah.
far
What
as
is
those
it?
goes, yeah.
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
Yeah, like first 8
8
weeks is
yeah.
macro, second
We
8 weeks
only
is
have
micro or
2
vice versa,
every
whichever, so,
semester.
yeah.
Because the 8-week 2 is, the department is not getting credit for it, it's a cost over the division. 8-week 1 probably, but 8-week 2 not.
Well, the enrollments if you start anything after 14 weeks, those enrollments are credited to the next semester.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you do have to kind of be careful how you do that, but it really depends on the VPI at the location and how
Okay.
flexible they will allow you to be in those things. We offer quite a bit of second aids in different areas,
Okay.
knowing that those are going to go, the enrollments will go to the next semester.
To the
So it
following.
just depends. Yeah. I want to take a quick minute for Susie to meet everyone. I don't know that she has.
Mhm.
Susie Engler is our liaison with System Office. And if y'all could introduce yourselves, that'd be great.
Ibrahim Abu Saad.
Hello,
North Paris.
nice to meet you.
Hank Lewis, University Park.
Hi, Hank.
Gazel Bayonpur Cypher.
Hi, how are you?
Shanzu Kingwood.
Great to meet you all. Thanks. And anytime you need curriculum support or need help with curriculum, please feel free to contact me or just anything that we can help you with. Happy to assist.
Thank you.
Susie is highly responsive,
Thank you.
very quickly
And we have,
Oh, we have
Yeah,
somebody
yeah,
on the,
Simona.
yeah.
And it's-
Hello.
Sorry. Sorry about that, Eddie.
Hi, Eddie.
Yes, that's a Savannah from Lone Star College.
Nice to meet you.
I forgot
So
about him.
now I know why you were saying your online classes are always full. So I don't know if you know this, and then this,
Yeah.
no issues with this whatsoever. But when students go to enroll for an online class, unless they specifically select a campus, North Harris is first in the rotation.
Wow.
Yeah.
So their
They just
classes,
choose
their
it.
online classes fill up first.
Yeah.
And then Montgomery's number 4, and you know which order you are by the 4-digit code when you have your section codes. So if it's 04, that's a Montgomery class. And we're 4th in line so North Harris's online classes will fill up quicker generally than
Oh,
anyone
I
else.
see.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because last semester I had actually 2 requests for over enrollment. Like we take 35, I had 2
Yeah.
classes with 36.
Interesting.
Well, it's a good problem to have, I guess.
Yep.
Mhm.
Do y'all have any more business?
I don't know.
Me either. Main thing is the SLOs and just some of these other things we're considering for the courses.
One last question. Why is the online enrollment, is it also 35 or 28?
I have 30.
28.
20. So why the online enrollment is different from one campus to another? Because it doesn't depend on the class capacity. It's
Exactly.
Even
online.
for face-to-face class, they're different enrollment caps.
Let's
It
let's
depends
say
on the
face-to-face
classroom.
down the seats, all right? But
It's not even the seat.
in the classroom, they do, by the way, in our class, there is some lady who comes every Wednesday.
Yeah, ours are
and
seat caps. But online is interesting. So you have 35.
I have 35.
We
I've
have
not heard of
28.
that high before. Yeah,
I
we're
have
at
30.
28 as well. That's interesting. I haven't heard 35 before.
Because they do the 35 because our classes are really huge in North Harris, but
Ours
it's
is pretty
still,
small here.
I mean, the online, it should be the same.
Mm-hmm, it should
Yeah,
be.
you would think
And,
so.
and there's a more pressure on the online instructor because right now a student just asks you a question, you're
Oh.
not seeing him or her. So you have to actually write down a
And they
huge
complain if
text
you're
and-
late in responding emails.
Yeah, but even without being late, you still have to write a lot in order to go to reach down to the student understanding. And after you spend like probably a half hour writing a response, and the student still doesn't understand because you didn't have the student in front of you, then you have to rewrite and ask what exactly you do not understand here, and then he or she replies. And so that actually the online are more it requires more effort and more time consuming than the face-to-face. When you look at that point, 35 students in an online class is really.
It's a lot.
It's
It is a lot for a
It is a
online.
lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I used to teach in Connecticut for the 12 and 13, 14 students in a class
Oh, wow.
online. And I used to complain.
I wouldn't complain about that.
I only have 35.
You're complaining.
Yeah, right.
For me, for the online classes, I do most of the work before the class start. So for all the lectures I have, I put on YouTube.
Yeah, there you
Me
go.
So that way student can watch the YouTube video and then just, go from there. And then I have, I don't meet the students individually. What I do every week, like Monday or Tuesday, I have an online meeting.
Mhm.
So it's on YouTube again. They can log online, they ask questions and go from there. And if anybody else has any more questions, they can contact me individually. But I deal with a lot of problems in the meeting. So that way everybody can hear it.
For how
do you do
long?
an online
you-
meeting on YouTube?
I show you when we finish. So even right now with Edison, this is an online meeting. They can watch it live. Yeah,
That's YouTube you're using that?
that's YouTube. That's YouTube. He's watching live right now.
It's like a live stream.
Live stream, yeah.
Oh.
And then the good thing about it, once you finish, it's recorded in YouTube. So students who cannot participate live, they can watch a recorded
And
session.
only your student can see it or everyone else?
It's actually
can
public.
see it? It's public.
Public.
That's what I got.
You can do a private, but you gotta send out invitations individually.
I have
There's
to
just
do that.
Okay, there's, I mean,
Oh.
30 students is too much.
You have people clamoring to watch your YouTube lectures who are not in your class.
A couple of times I have.
Yeah, I bet.
Every now
Oh,
and again, get somebody
okay.
it's
I'm
probably
gonna-
just
Yeah, they
curious.
want to,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
they want
find
to learn
you.
about it and not pay for it, so they.
Yeah, a couple of times I have students, people I don't know ask me questions on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I do a lot of stuff, before the class, so that way it's easier once class started.
Sure.
And another thing I want to make is that for Kingwood, what I do, I have a course. So I put all the quizzes into D2L. I put all the links for MindTap into D2L, and all my adjuncts just copy my course. So
Yeah.
that way it's easier for them. And then also standardize everything. Because
I just wonder how we have.
Well, mine has a copy of what I've got, but they'd start modifying and making their own.
yeah, they can modify everything they want.
Yeah.
Like we have Blackboard or D2L or whatever platform we have, and they do not allow video conference for some reason. Their debate.
I mean, we should have a WebEx or something that was used, all of us had access to WebEx.
I mean, by the student apply for the once you have access to D2L or Blackboard or whatever, you should have like online conference in there.
Well, they do have WebEx, and I think everybody that's supposed to be there is supposed to be able to do
WebEx where? At Blackboard?
On
or
D2L.
And
D2L, and you can use it with students, is my understanding.
So it is there?
That's my
It's there,
understanding, is that
but
it is.
I
It's
think
a matter of,
so.
you want to contact the,
WebEx?
you want to contact the connect, not the D2L support people,
Oh, I do.
and ask about WebEx, so you should have available, yeah.
You can even chat with the D12 guys.
Yeah.
I probably.
Feel
need
free to continue your conversation. I'm here to do
Okay,
it.
sure.
In fact,
I understand.
orientation at Montgomery.
Okay.
Good to see you,
good to see
Susie.
you.
Y'all take care.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
See you next time.
semester.
You too. Have a
Yeah,
great semester.
take
Bye.
care, bye.
Yeah, if you guys want, I can show you how to do
Yes,
the online
yes.
meeting.
I actually tried to do that with YouTube one time during my summer classes and everything, it just didn't work too well, but I tried.
Addison,
Y'all have a great semester.
thank you,
Thank
Susie.
you very much.
See you later.
Do you have the option not to store it on YouTube?
Yeah, I can hear you. Here, I'm gonna end the. Okay, I'm gonna end the YouTube session now, so you cannot watch it live anymore. Okay. Okay. All right.